Hey everyone, and welcome to my Magical School Book recommendations video. It's been a while since I've done any sort of recommendations video, so today what I thought I'd do is give you a few recommendations for some of my favourite magical school books, so let's get into it. I'm going to start with the middle grade, then work my way through some YA, and then also some comics and manga as well, because let's be honest, it wouldn't be a recommendations list from me if there wasn't some comics and manga in here. But anyway, starting with the middle grade, we are starting with Amari and the Night Brothers. This is a series by B.B. Alston, and it is fantastic. If you're a fan of middle grade books, magical school stories, as well as Men in Black and the Supernatural, you will absolutely love this series because it combines all of those things so well. We are also dealing with the mystery of what happened to Amari's brother, who went missing several years ago. There's also a lot of exploration around xenophobia and the power of friendship, all of this kind of thing, and it is just fantastic. I absolutely love this series. I cannot get enough of it. The third book is also out at the end of the month as well, so you cannot go wrong jumping onto this series now because the next book is literally just about to come out. I cannot wait for it. I have it on pre-order and I just love this series so much. You cannot go wrong with Amari and the Night Brothers if you're looking for magical school stories with a bit of supernatural and mystery as well. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more YA, I have to recommend Tracy Deon's Legendborn, because this series is so good. And by the way, if you can hear noise outside, it's because I got the windows open and the fan going, because England is currently going through a heat wave right now, and quite frankly it's melting my brain. So apologies also if this video turns out weird. My brain is melting. Anyway, Legendborn I describe always as being like King Arthur as a retelling meets Shadowhunters, in the sense that you are dealing with the descendants of King Arthur, Merlin and the Knights of the Round Table, as they are dealing with demons and things like this, and they're trying to keep the world safe from demons, demonic invasion, this kind of thing. And it is so good. I absolutely love this series so much. The next one is out next year, I think it is. It's called Oathbound, if I remember rightly, and I cannot wait for that next one because this series so far has been so good. I love the conversations it has around generational trauma, racism. I also love the world building of this one as well. The characters are fantastic. There's a lot of queer representation in here as well, which is also brilliant, and it's just so good. It deserves every single accolade it gets. I cannot get enough of this series. And if you are looking for magical school stories by way of King Arthur and Shadowhunters, that's also really inclusive and has really important topics and conversations around racism, generational trauma, all this kind of thing, Legendborn is definitely the one to go for. Then there is also the Wayward Children series. This is by Shauna Maguire, and again, this isn't a traditional magical school story in the sense that kids are learning magic at the school or anything. It's more that they've already had their magical adventures through portal fantasy worlds, and they're now back in the real world again, and they're either having real trouble adjusting to being back in the real world, or they are waiting for their doors to open so they can go back home again to these magical worlds. And in each book, we're either following new characters in their story within these magical worlds, or they're going on quests to help each other out, or whatever else is going on. They're generally going through various different portal fantasy worlds to save each other or find each other and all of this kind of thing, and it is so much fun and so inclusive. Again, we've got a lot of queer characters in here. There's also OCD representation in a few of the books as well. And what I love most about this series though is how different each of the worlds are that we visit. So you have a world that's very sort of Dracula and Frankenstein based. You've also got a dinosaur world that briefly shows up in this one, which is mislaid in parts half known. There is a world that is essentially the sort of nexus point where you can go through all of the different doors to find different places. There's like a marketplace one. You've got one that's made entirely out of like sweets and candy and all of this kind of thing, which I find really fascinating. And I just absolutely love this series so much. It's so much fun. I absolutely adore it. Again, it's one of my favourite ongoing series right now. If you're looking for magical school stories that aren't about kids learning magic or anything, but more them going on quests and things like this, and having loads of different worlds and loads of different fantasy rules and things like this, again, Shauna Maguire, Wayward Children, you cannot go wrong with it. And then finally, as for some manga and some comics, I've got to mention My Hero Academia here, because this is very much a superhero magical school story in the sense that we are following a young boy who idolizes superheroes in a world of superheroes, but he doesn't have any powers of his own, until one day one of the biggest superheroes in the world literally gives him his powers, and he has to go off to the school for superheroes to learn his powers and fight against other people and learn how to be a superhero. It is absolutely fantastic. I'm only about 5 volumes in at the moment, but I'm really enjoying it. There's a reason why it's one of the most popular mangas out there. It is so much fun. My camera battery just died, so apologies if I've moved, but anyway, I also have to mention Strange Academy by Skottie Young, and this is one of my favourite comics that's come out over the last few years, because this is literally a magical school story set within the Marvel Universe, but you don't need to know anything about the Marvel Universe to read this, because we're focusing entirely on the students, not the teachers. The teachers are definitely more in the periphery, and it would kind of help if you knew who Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, Wong, Brother Voodoo, Magic, who else is there? I said Scarlet Witch, Damon Hellstrom, occasionally Loki, Enchantress, things like this. It would kind of help if you knew them, but to be honest, they're on such a periphery that it doesn't really matter if you don't. And it is just so much fun, essentially. It is such a quintessential magical school story where you're following a young girl who has been brought up in the real world, or the normal world I should say, without powers, and it actually turns out she does have magic, so she goes off to the Strange Academy and starts learning magic with a bunch of other magic users within the Marvel Universe, and it goes through all of the trials and tribulations of learning magic, making friends, making enemies, going on adventures, all of this kind of thing, and it is so much fun. The artwork in here is also fantastic. I'm trying to find a good bit that doesn't give away too many spoilers or anything. There we go, it looks like this, and it is just so much fun. I highly recommend it. Even if you aren't a big fan of the Marvel Universe or anything else, Strange Academy is so much fun. I loved it when I read it. And then finally, if we are talking about comics in the Marvel Universe, I have to mention the ultimate magical school story within there, which is the X-Men, because while they aren't traditional magical users, they are very much a bunch of powered people learning to use their powers in a school together, and then going on adventures, saving the world, all of that kind of thing, and it is just so much fun. And there are so many different runs you can go down, so many different characters you can follow. There's literally something for everyone. You've got things like the traditional X-Men, you've got the New Mutants, you've got X-Factor, which is more like an investigation kind of thing, you've got Secret X-Men, so many others as well, so many different characters. If you want to follow, say, Charles Xavier, for example, you can follow all of his stuff. You can follow Jean Grey, Wolverine, Scott. You can also follow people like Illyana, like I've just mentioned, because she's magic of the Strange Academy. There's so many others that you can follow and everything else, and quite frankly, I do think it's kind of like the ultimate magical school story, because you never know what's going to happen next, and you never know who's going to show up and all of this kind of thing. You're never going to get bored, because there's so many characters and so many different powers and all of this kind of thing, and it's just really good fun, to be honest. And I had to mention them because while they're not a traditional school story, they are still a school story. They're still about powered people and are going on adventures and all of that kind of thing, so I kind of had to mention them. And that is where I'm going to leave this video here, because my brain is literally melting right now because it is so hot. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me your favourite magical school story. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me, I'm going to say, a sword emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all of my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics. If you want to check that out and find out more about Strange Academy, Illyana, the X-Men, anything else, all of that will be linked down below, as well as a link as well down below to my Bookish Etsy store if you want to treat yourself to something bookish today. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!